Let's talk about the ultimate single stall garage gym. This video is going to be part tour, part strategy for how to create this yourself if you're in the market to build your own home gym. But before we get into the video, hi, my name is Ryan Treadaway, founder of TreadawayTraining.com. If you want to learn more about all things home gym related, consider subscribing to the channel. Or if you want to know how to put that equipment to good use to transform your own body, consider checking out the website. And one more thing that I do want to get out of the way, because this is technically cheating. I have my dumbbells and the Titan Ronin in the second stall. However, the reason why I'm not considering that cheating is because 1/3 of this stall is taken up by a bathroom. And so this is kind of a partial stall. If we had the full stall, the dumbbells and the Ronin would both fit in this corner and there would be no spillover and it would be a true single stall garage gym. But for those of you who still hate my justifications, you can leave your hate comments in the comment section below. And I do have dedicated reviews for most of the pieces of equipment that I will talk about in this video. So if you want to check out any of those in more detail, you can check those out down in the description. And I also have affiliate links for most of this equipment as well. So if you want to check that out, it will help out the channel at no additional cost to you. So check those links out down in the description. So, very quick tour, starting all the way from this side. We have the newest addition, the Phoenix Tower by GetRx, which is in for review. And we have the GMWD leg press that I reviewed actually back at the basement gym a long time ago. It has stuck around. We have the GetRx Tornado rack with a couple of custom modifications that I've done to it. I originally had the 6-post configuration. I since did a little custom work, added 2 more posts out the front to make it an 8-post, and did some custom cable work to extend the Tornado arms out to the front so that they would have their own dedicated uprights instead of having to share uprights with the J-cups and safeties and other attachments. We have a whole bunch of storage. We have the Freak Athlete ABX arm developer attachment, Tib Bar Guy slant stack, Ironmaster dumbbells with the add-on kits to take it all the way up to 165 pounds a piece, Rep Pegasus, GetRx Seal Row pad, which doesn't get used very often because of the Pegasus, Pritchett pad, which very rarely gets used for anything nowadays, dumbbells, Titan Ronin, and my bicycle from when I was 12 years old. Oh yeah, a whole bunch of Kensui handles that I have not put on the storage board yet for some reason, even though I've had them for like 2 months. Tib curl machine by the Tib Bar Guy, Rogue landmine, Texas deadlift bar, Rep deep neural power bar EX, Kensui Tokyo bar, Kensui Kyoto bar. I might have the names backwards for those two. Rogue dip bar, Core Chem knockoffs of the Prime rotate handles, knockoff Magpul handles, and a whole bunch of other attachments. And last but not least, the Kensui Easy Vest Max, hanging on the Rogue leg roller. The important thing to know here is while this is the ultimate single stall garage gym for me, what would constitute the ultimate single stall garage gym for you might be a little bit different. So let's talk about how to decide what pieces you need to put in your garage in order for you to make your ultimate single stall garage gym. And I'm gonna use the pieces here as examples in certain categories, and we'll talk more specifically about why I chose the options that I chose as well. First thing that you need to decide if you're starting from scratch is what is going to be my first purchase, obviously. Do not fall into the trap of thinking that you have to buy some big, fancy, all-in-one machine or something like that, because honestly, the thing that's gonna give you the most versatility is something simple like a barbell or dumbbells. And that's honestly your first decision, is which of those two paths are you going to go down first. Your first purchase needs to either be a barbell or dumbbells. If you have plenty of money lying around, you can just go ahead and buy both at the same time, knock them all out at once, and probably save on some shipping from wherever you buy it from. And the good news is, since that is most people's first purchase, and it's no secret that a lot of fitness resolutions fail to stick, there's no shortage of barbells and plates and dumbbells that are for sale used on places like Facebook Marketplace. And so you can just get the Facebook Marketplace special, get whatever you can find for cheap, and then you can always upgrade later if you really want to, because after all, a 45-pound plate is a 45-pound plate, even if it's a little bit ugly. But if you want to just buy something one time and be done with it forever, you can buy a quality barbell, something like the Rogue Ohio Power Bar that I have here in the rack, or another one that I really enjoy is the Rep Deep Neural Power Bar EX. As long as you buy a quality barbell from a quality company, you're going to be able to hold on to that sucker forever as long as you take a little bit of care of it. Again, plates, doesn't really matter. Buy the cheapest plates that you can get. If you are someone who's interested in potentially doing Olympic lifting, you want to buy bumper plates over metal plates. But if you have no desire to ever use bumper plates for Olympic lifts, then you want to buy iron plates over bumper plates because they're going to be cheaper. You don't have to worry about them breaking down over time because they're made of metal, not rubber. And because they are thinner plates, you have more room to stack plates on the end of the barbell. So if you're somebody who has strength-oriented goals, as you get stronger and stronger and stronger, you don't have to worry about running out of space to load plates on the end of the barbell. Then when it comes to dumbbells, you have another choice to be made. Do you want to go with fixed dumbbells? Do you want to go with adjustable dumbbells? And no matter which path you go down, there are numerous options, too many to even count in one video. So rather than trying to nitpick every single brand and every single type and all that other kind of nonsense, let's just look at the two categories as a whole. There are definitive pros and cons to each. Fixed dumbbells, pro, you have all of the weights that you need and you don't have to worry about changing anything. You don't have to worry about swapping weights in between sets. If you work out with a partner, you don't have to take turns with the dumbbell. You can just each grab a weight and you can both be working out at the same time. But the drawback is because you are ultimately buying a lot more total weight, you have to pay a whole lot more money to do fixed dumbbells. Plus you have to have a big rack to store all of your dumbbells if you have a lot of dumbbells. So all of that adds a lot of extra cost and a little bit more footprint. I believe this is 6 foot wide, whereas this is like 14 inches wide, I believe, with these adjustable Ironmaster dumbbells. And then of course the pros and cons to the adjustable dumbbells are the exact opposite to the pros and cons of the fixed dumbbells. They're space saving, they're cost saving. So in a single stall garage, especially if it's a small stall, this might be the route that you're going. Saves a lot of money as well if you're more budget oriented. But the cons are the fact that two people can't work out at the same time because there's only one set. And then of course there's the time that it takes to adjust the dumbbells. Depending on which specific adjustable dumbbells you get, this may be more or less of an issue. And then if you're gonna get a barbell, naturally, you're going to want to pair that with a rack. Now, technically, you can use a barbell without a rack, and that was done for many years before racks and benches were invented because the barbell came out first. But you're probably gonna wanna use a rack. And there's a bunch of different levels to racks that you can get. You can get anywhere from a $50 pair of squat stands all the way up to a several $1,000 expensive rack that has cables and all of the other stuff included along with it. And of course your space and your budget is going to largely determine that. And you could just go the good old Facebook Marketplace route with that as well. Find something that'll suit your needs for $100 or $200 for the time being, and then upgrade to something later. But if you're going with the buy once, cry once motto, then you want to consider what do you actually want your rack to do. If you are wanting to treat it as an ecosystem that you're going to continue to add to over time, the main thing is that you want to get a 3x3 upright with 1 inch horizontal hardware holes for your squat rack. And then you can add basically anything you want to it from that point forward. The other thing to consider is, do you want a rack with cables, or is that something that you don't care about? Nowadays, just about every single company that you can think of has a cable rack combo unit available, and you can even get cable rack combos for like $200-300 used on Facebook Marketplace. But again, if you're going with a route of something that you want to build off of over time, the good news is that it's something that you actually don't have to decide right up front. You can just buy the rack, and then almost every company that sells a cable rack combo will give you the option to buy the rack by itself and then later purchase a cable add-on kit to expand it into a functional trainer rack combo. And if you want to see more content like this, consider subscribing. But a couple of important takeaways here is, this is the dividing line where we're going from must-haves to need-to-haves. Cables are highly versatile. You can do a ton of stuff with cables. However, you don't necessarily have to have cables. If you have your barbell, if you have your dumbbell, if you have a rack and a bench, you never need to buy anything else for your garage gym ever again. If you do want cables and you like the idea of having a functional trainer though, the important thing for a single stall setup specifically is it needs to be a combo unit, because you need to share that footprint for your functional trainer with your squat rack so that you're not taking up a whole extra spot just to have a functional trainer. And because if you are pairing it with a 3x3 upright with 1-inch holes, you have a lot of versatility to add attachments. For example, you can add a lat pull seat like the Rep Pegasus or the GetRx Optimus over there, and you can add a lot of extra versatility that way. And specifically, if you're gonna do an attachment like that, get a multi-purpose one rather than a dedicated lat pull seat, because with this one, for example, you can take this off. You have your chest support pad where you can do low rows, or you can incline it and you can do standing incline chest press, you name it, any sort of incline exercise, you can do it with this attachment. And you can pair any sort of attachments to go with your cable work. Going deeper into the list of maybe need to haves, or maybe even blurring the lines into want to haves, we can move on to something like a leg press. If you're getting into accessory work for your legs, most people, the go-to for their first specialty piece of equipment is going to be a leg press. And again, you can probably find one on Marketplace. I'm gonna stop making that note just because everything that I mentioned from this point out in the entire video, you can probably go on Facebook Marketplace and find most of it. Going even deeper into the need to haves and blurring into the want to haves, you want to look for maybe something like a dedicated lat pull low row setup. But because in a garage gym setting, you want to have as much versatility as possible for the space and the money that you're spending, most companies offer multifunctional lat pull low rows nowadays. You can get one like the Rogue CTM, I believe is the name. You can get one like the Rep Adonis, and there's a dedicated high pulley, a dedicated low pulley, a 3x3 upright with 1-inch holes, and then a cable trolley that you can lift up and down. So you have your lat pull and your low row attachment points for your pulleys, and then you have a free attachment point that can go anywhere up and down the upright. There's also one like this one, the GetRx, rather than doing a dedicated high point, low point, and then adjustable that goes up and down, they just have the adjustable that goes up and down. But because of the Phoenix arms on here, you can just raise them to the highest setting, and then you can connect these two together, or you can use them independently of each other. And that is actually, in my personal opinion, better because it adds extra variety to the types of pull downs that you can do. And same thing, you can lower this all the way down, drop the arms all the way down, put a low row foot plate on there, and then you can do low rows as well. And I have a dedicated review for this coming out soon, so we'll talk more about that later on. But a lat pull low row is probably gonna be the next thing that you would wanna look at. But coming back to the cable rack combo for just a second, depending on how big your garage stall is, you might not want to take up additional space with an additional cable machine if you already have something like a functional trainer rack combo, because you could attach all of the different attachments to one of the uprights, and you can do low rows on here, you can do high rows on here, and all that good stuff. The only way that you're a little bit limited with a functional trainer rack for those heavier pulls like lat pulls and low rows is that almost all functional trainer racks are gonna be a 2-to-1 ratio. So if you get a 210-pound stack like the one on the GetRx Tornado rack, because of how pulley math works, you're actually not pulling 210 pounds. You're actually only pulling 105 pounds. And for anybody that's been lifting for a considerable amount of time, that is not gonna be enough weight to challenge most lifters that are intermediate or advanced for things like lat pulls and low rows. So you'd have to resort to getting something like an adder pin that you can slot into the stack so that you can start stacking 45-pound plates on as well. Whereas if you're doing a dedicated lat pull low row, almost all of them are gonna be a 1-to-1 ratio, meaning if it's a 200-pound stack or a 300-pound stack, you're actually pulling the full 200 pounds or the full 300 pounds. So for more advanced lifters, you'll be able to fully challenge yourself without having to take the time to add plates onto your stack. But when we're starting to get into specialty pieces of equipment, this is where it starts to get more into what are your specific goals, what are specialty pieces that are specific to the things that you want to work specifically on. So if you did not want to get a lat pull or low row because you feel like that is already covered by the fact that you have a functional trainer rack, you could instead put something in your gym like a leg extension, leg curl combo machine, for example. Or another really good multifunctional piece of equipment that I would have in here and could still have in here with the amount of space that I have, the only reason I don't is because it's upstairs, is you could get something like the Freak Athlete Hyper Pro, for example. It's a highly adjustable piece of equipment that allows you to do tons of extra exercises. I have a dedicated video for that as well. And it takes up very little footprint because it stores vertically, and you could just roll it over here to this free spot of wall, for example, and stand it up right here when you're done. And then you could still have a dedicated leg curl, leg extension, or a lat pull, and still have a machine like that. But if we start talking about specialty machines, we could really get off far into the weeds and spend hours and hours and hours talking about the different specialty pieces out there. So the question that you should ask yourself once you have all of the basics in place is, what is a body part that I'm really dedicated to building up? And then you get a specialty piece of equipment for that. And then bonus points if it's a specialty piece that still allows you to do 4 or 5 or 6 different exercises, like with the Phoenix Tower right here. Getting into the things that are truly nice to haves and not necessarily mandatory, we're looking at stuff like storage, for example. Storage is very important because it's gonna make your space more organized. You're gonna be able to get more attachments and things like that, so you'll be able to technically get more out of your space, and you're gonna enjoy working out in your space more, because if it's cluttered, for most people, it's not gonna be as enjoyable, whereas everything has its place and it's nice and neat and organized, it's gonna feel better mentally when you're in your garage working out. And I'll make a dedicated video specifically on my favorite cable attachments, but when you have something like the wall control organizer system that I have here, you see that I have a full wall of it, it turns the corner, and I have another full wall of it. You can hang just about any cable attachment that you can probably think of. And one note that I will mention about cable attachments is that if you're seeking extra variety, don't automatically think that you have to buy a specialty machine, because specialty machines, even if you get one used off of Facebook Marketplace, you're still looking at several $100s for a machine that usually does 1 to maybe 3 exercises. Whereas if you want to add variety, buy cable attachments. For example, the Corachem cable attachment bundle that I got, which comes with this landmine handle, comes with this wide connector bar, comes with the narrow connector bar that's over here on the Phoenix Tower, and came with these two handles, and back over to the pegboard, came with this tricep spreader bar. It was $130 off Amazon. I'll put the link in the description. I think it was around 130 bucks that I paid for it. And it adds a ton, an absolute ton of variety, way more than you're gonna get from a specialty piece of equipment, and a whole lot cheaper as well. And I have a few other different types of handles here as well. You can get something like the U-clips. This is something where your imagination really is the limit. And my imagination probably doesn't even do justice to the amount of versatility that you can get on something like this. This is something that you can slot your barbell in here when you are hooked up to a landmine setup. And you can connect it this way just by hooking it under the bar, or you can actually slide it onto the bar. You can connect any handle that you want to this thing, which again opens up a ton of variety for your landmine exercises as well. And this thing, I don't remember how much it cost, but it was relatively inexpensive for the amount of versatility that it adds. So the main thing that you want to keep in mind is don't get overly specialized too fast. Buy the pieces of equipment that are going to give you the most bang for your buck and the most bang for the amount of space that you're taking up. So focus on barbells, dumbbells first, and then slowly drift into the things that are more specialized. And use the cheapest thing that you can find that takes up the least amount of space to get that variety, such as handles. And you're gonna be a lot happier with the space that you set up. And of course, make sure to keep that space organized. And if this helps you to set up your space, send me a picture of it on Instagram. I would love to see the space that you set up. I'll put the link to my profile down in the description below. And if you want to see dedicated reviews, I do have reviews for most of the pieces that I have talked about in this video. I'll put all those down in the description. And if you want to purchase any of the things that I talked about in this video, I have affiliate links for most of those things down in the description as well. It does help out the channel if you use those links at no additional cost to you. You're awesome. God bless you and your family, and we'll see you next time. Nope, don't hit the button yet. I just gotta get past the intro. I can do it. I gotta get past the intro.